Hi, Edgar here, the coach of the San Jose Sizors. I'd like to apologize for the delay in the uploads. Week 2 did not happen, so I ended up getting a forfeit win. My opponent was pretty busy throughout the week, and it just wasn't available to come up. So, I do have my week 3 battle. I'm gonna go over the the team real fast. So, my opponent, his name is Stumbles. He's the coach of the Deadshot Decidueyes. And his team consists of, let me look it up real fast. Magirna, Zeraora, Arcanine, Swampert, Shuckle, Cryogonal, Mega Pinsir, Regular Latias, Alolan Muk, Virizion, and Braviary. His Zmons are Latias, Virizion, and Magirna. So, overall, the prep that I did was I mostly wanted to be able to whittle his team down. And I felt he would bring Shuckle against me, because everyone tends to try to bring Shuckle, but then again, since I have a rather slow team, I don't see a reason in why Shuckle would come. My team also isn't that weak to rocks or hazards in general, so it's 50-50 whether Shuckle or not would come. It depends on how much he values his speed. And so let's get started with the first mon I brought, which was Rotom. Rotom I brought with Volt Switch, Defog, Will-O-Wisp, and Hex. Defog in case I couldn't get the start that I wanted. Um, I also wanted to run Willow and Hex just to try to whittle things down a lot faster. Since he had Magearna, obviously he wouldn't be able to get poisoned, so Willow was for the mons that couldn't get poisoned. For instance, Muck, Magearna, just mons like that, and then Hex was just mainly to whittle everything down. My Donphan set was mainly to help wall Mega Pinsir. After taking rocks, Ice Shard and Rocky Helmet will always KO Pinsir. So that was why the set I brought it. Rapid Spin again, just in case I couldn't get a defog off on Rotom. I wanted to be able to remove hazards, keep him off my side. Next, I brought Heatran with Flame Charge set and a Steelium Z. I brought Steelium Z because it was just allowed him to hit most of his team that, for instance, Fire wouldn't work on. So Latias, um, mainly it was just to hit Latias and Arcanine, and potential, nah, not really Swampert, but also be able to put in a dent and Shuckle. That was the main reason why I decided to run Steelium Z. Tornado Styrian, I brought with Air Slash, U-Turn, Taunt, Hidden Power Ground. I really struggled in trying to deal with his team. For instance, like Mega Pinsir, I needed to be able to hit Alola and Mug. That's why we see Taunt, was to prevent setup, then hit him with Hidden Power Ground. U-Turn for momentum. Toxapex I brought was my intended lead to use, and I forgot to put the 6 EVs. Yeah, I'll fix that before the battle. So Toxapex with Magic Coat was in case he decided to bring Sticky Webs, I'd be able to bounce them back and help my team overall. Um, Recover Toxic Scald and Shuka to protect me from ground type earthquakes from, for instance, Mega Pinsir and Swampert, just being able to help me with that. Then with Tangrowth, I have an Assault Vest set to help me with Latias, Earthquake mainly to help me deal with Muck, Knockoff, Poison Jab, Seed Bomb. Yep, that's the team I brought. Mostly Muck, Latias, Magearna, and Zeraora were probably the mons I prepared for the most of my team. Yeah, I'll upload the battle. Alright, here's our battle against the Deadshot Decidueyes and Stumble. So, looking at the team, Mug, Swampert, Pinsir, Latias, Zeraora. and Migirna. Initially, I believe there was Latias that was obviously going to be his defogger. Muck, I was expecting either an assault vest or a regular recycle curse set. Then Swamper was obviously going to be more defensive. I didn't know whether he would want to run. I'm pretty sure he would rather run Spadef rather than Fizdef against my team. Pincer, we already know it's going to be likely a Sword Stance, EQ, Return or Frustration, and Close Combat. Then Zero Aura is probably just running enough speed to outspeed my Tornadoes. Migirna, I know he ran a shift gear set week 1. Um, but again, it all depends on what he sees as the bigger threat. He might build a Hidden Power ground set AV with his Migirna to help deal with my Heatran. Well, anyways, let's just get started with the battle. Obviously, this is just a replay. I'll post a link if you just want to watch the battle as opposed to listening to my commentary. So to start, I decided my Toxapex, of course, expecting. Turn off the music real fast. I was expecting Shuckle, although he didn't bring it. I figured he'd want to get rocks as early as possible, so I decided I'll go for Magico, so that way I don't have to just waste a turn going for rocks of my own. And this puts a lot of pressure on Pinsir. This forces him to not make as many switches with his Pinsir. And right here I decide I have Sugar Berry, so why not go for Toxic since he's also likely to go for Stealth Rock. I don't see a point in wasting my Sugar Berry right now. This is a risky play, especially since my Tangrowth is physical attacker. So if I get burned, that will really hinder Tangrowth's effectiveness in this battle. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about that too much. And what we see right here, it's a leftovers Latias set, which likely, well, when I was first battling, I believed it was going to be a Calm Mind Recover set. And right here, I'm just trying to chip him down. Either try to force a switch. I'm not going to be able to get much damage off. And it's just going to be a constant thing until he starts getting, he starts having more health after all my knockoffs. Also know that this battle is around 88 turns, I believe. It lasted a good while. So towards the end, I'll skip some of the plays until it gets to like an important part. Right here, I go into Rotom because I know he's gonna click Recover. I decided to click Willow. Obviously, he was expecting a Shadow Ball, and since he's in from right here, then my next attack, I find out that Migirna is a Soul Vest because I believe my Hex was supposed to do around 60% to a no investment Migirna, which I think is pretty crucial for me. So now I don't have to worry about getting swept by a Migirna later in the battle. I decided to go for Volt Switch just to get some initial chip and try to keep Rotom up. Heatran, obviously great play, resists Fairy due to his Fire and Steel typing, and it threatens out Migirna. I immediately make a switch, predicting him to switch out again. I think I was actually preparing for. I don't remember why I decided to switch into Toxapex, but I do know that my Toxapex is EV to take a Psychic from a Modest set. So I decided I'm gonna go for a Toxic to try to whittle this thing down. And I see he goes. Yes, there we go. He has the refresh. Sorry, I slowed down the video so that way I'll be able to try to keep up a bit. And I also have a tendency to talk pretty fast. So I'm gonna try to talk as little as possible, or kind of slower. Right here, I probably should have tried to preserve Donphan more, since he was my main answer to Pinsir and as well as Muck and Zero Aura. Right here, I didn't think he would have Defog since he already had Recover and Refresh. And I honestly had no idea he would run this kind of a Ladia set against me. But seeing that I have a Toxapex and a Tangrowth, overall just a really bulky team, I could see why he knew I wanted to go for a battle that would last longer than it should have. So I could see why he would bring Recover and Refresh to prevent me from stalling him out. And I decided to get Rocks back up because then it forces Latias to come back in to defog him, and it keeps Pinsir from threatening my team. So right here, again, he's just trying to get Rocks up as well. Though they don't matter too much from my side, thanks to regen and my team just not being weak to rocks in general, only Tornadus, but with regen, as long as I can get an attack off and switch out, Tornadus should be fine. And let's see. Rapid spin again to just get my rocks off. He obviously threatens my Donphan now with the Scald. And Rotom, I felt like was a safer play. He wasn't the most needed, and he's likely to try to get rocks up, knowing that he could threaten out. And my first mistake of the battle comes here, thinking my flame charge would do enough to take out the Swampert. And this is really where things start to go bad for my team, because Heatran was probably the best answer I had to Latias, especially with the set that he had. And really my only psychic resist. Had that worked, I also was really early to try to get a flame charge up. And then right here I mess up by just trying to get some initial damage off. And right here I'm just trying to force him to try to click recover or defog, so that way I'd be able to get in a mon safely to switch in. So right here, since he's gonna click defog or recover or defog, I figured I might as well get Tornadus in, since I can taunt him and keep him from recovering and hopefully chip him down low enough or hit whatever comes in. Unfortunately, I get a flinch right there, and then I'm doing a pretty good job at keeping it low. And I try to switch out just to get momentum, since I know he could kill me with the next shot and I can't kill him. Donphan, the least useful member of my team right now, since I need Tangrowth to beat Zeraora, to beat Magearna, Toxapex, Walls, Muck, and Pinsir, and Tornadus is my last offensive mon. Right here I click Poison Jab. I expected it to do a bit more to Pinsir. And right here I decided to just sack off my Donphan, since it'll die to the Rocky Helmet. And this will probably be my longest battle of the season. I don't see it going past 60 turns. But again, for this battle, it was mostly just that Latias that kept walling my team. And that I probably should have prepped for a way to deal with it better. But I also had some unfortunate plays go my way. Not the Heatran play. That one was just, I should have ran a calc to check how much I would have done, because I calced it right after, and unfortunately it was never going to KO at that range. But you'll see soon enough that I get a really bad play that kind of keeps me from beating Muck towards the end. And right here I'm just trying to get poison off to force him to click either refresh or recover, so then I could switch in safely into Tornadus. Right here is when it goes really bad for me. So That air slash miss is really bad. I probably just should have clicked U-turn just because of the accuracy, but I expected air slash to hit. Since the reason why I picked air slash over air hurricane was purely just for the accuracy and to be able to get some chip off. And had I been able to get the air slash off, that forces Zeraora in to come and try to deal with tornadoes. And then from there I just go into my Tangrowth. And then from there, Tangrowth is just able to wall Zeraora, click knock off, click earthquake, since he no longer would have a ground immunity. So missing that air slash was pretty big, just in my opinion. Although it didn't decide the outcome of the battle, it definitely did play a part in the outcome. So right here, I decided to just switch out just to get some health back with regen. Then now that he's -2 special attack, I could switch back into Tangrowth and not really have to worry too much about it. He does reveal that he has the Pain Split, trying to just get some initial recovery. Probably was expecting recover and try to get up more. He does have Heart Swap to get rid of the -2 special attack. And I pretty much just clean up Magearna with Earthquakes. He does miss the Floor Cannon, but it never KO'd Tangrowth, and I would have just switched back into Toxapex to get the health back again. Although he could have just been clicking Pain Split. Right here, I probably should have just clicked Knock Off with Tangrowth, but I would have been risking losing to Zeraora. And because there's no way my Toxapex could live Plasma Fist from Zeraora. This also allowed me to click Recover and then switch back to Tangrowth. He goes for Bulk Up. I believe he gets a crit the next turn. Again, this wasn't too important. I mean, it would have helped to have more health to help deal with Muck. And I calculated from this range Earthquake was always going to KO. Or it was like I just needed a mid-roll to KO. Zeraora +1. Right here, I should have clicked Knock Off instead of just letting it set up. But at the time, I really wanted to just get a burn off on Muck. And this is just where it's like a constant like stalling out. I managed to get the burn, and it's just constant back and forth with Scald, Curse, Poison Jab. I start clicking Toxic because I'm trying to stall him out and have the burn weaken him. So right there, my initial plan for right here was just to, because I was noticing that every time he was at 60%, he would click Recycle, was when I would switch into Tangrowth and click Knock Off and pretty much just sack Tangrowth right there. Unfortunately, I end up losing my Toxapex due to a crit. So I had 2 unfortunate plays go my way, but my opponent also had some hacks go his way. For next week's battle, I'm taking on Lion, yes, and the Alpine Arcanites. And for that battle, I'll be doing a live reaction, so that way I can probably provide better commentary for it. And I'll try to have the video up by Sunday. Not sure what time on Sunday,